Welcome to How Are We Here, my little channel where I can share with you all the neat things I read, watch, or look up on the interweb. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we are here according to the ancient Egyptians. So sit back and let me tell you some tales. In my search for old legends of creation, the interwebs brought me back to a time of wonder. Let's go back some 5,100 years, back to a time between 3,100 and 2,300 BCE, before Common Era. The Egyptians had a few different ideas on how it all started. One of the greatest and longest civilizations to exist, its mystical beginnings can still be found. Documented on coffins and in the pyramids, we can glance at how 4 different Egyptian cities viewed creation. Today, we journey to the cities of Hermopolis, Heliopolis, Memphis, and Thebes to see where they thought it all came from, where their gods came from, the origins of the world, while natural phenomena existed, and how their society would interact with each other and the world, from birth to the afterlife. So join me as we delve into the Nun, an infinite chaotic expanse of lifeless waters that existed pre-creation. In these 4 tales, a pantheon of gods will emerge to herald civilization. In Middle Egypt, there was a city sacred to Thot, god of wisdom. This city, known to the ancient Egyptian people as Chemnu, meaning 8 town, is now known as Hermopolis, the city of Hermes. This is due to the Greeks, whom equated their god Hermes with the Egyptian god Thot. In this city, there were those who believed that within the Nun, the watery chaos of pre-creation, there existed the Ogdoad. The Ogdoad were 8 gods whom existed in the dark watery unknown, which was the eternal state of the cosmos prior to creation. They were inert in their existence, merely existing without thought. Those 8 deities were 4 frog-headed males and 4 serpent-headed females. Nun and Nuanat, whom represented water. He and Hohet represented the notion of infinity. Kek and Kaket, who represented darkness. And Aman and Amanat represented the concept of hiddenness. The potential for creation existed in this unchanging nothingness. When the inert Ogdoad eventually converged, a great upheaval occurred in the primordial waters. A goose named the Great Cackler arrived. The goose would lay a cosmic egg containing the primeval mound, and on that mound, a lotus blossom would bloom. Emerging from the lotus was a scarab, which would become an important solar symbol to these people. The beetle transformed into a child. This child was Ra, the newborn sun god. As his light touched the Nun where the Ogdoad resided, they awoke. The world and everything in it would form. And when Ra first cried, his tears formed humankind. Let's travel to Lunu, where once again we find the Greeks renaming things. They called this city Heliopolis, city of the sun. Old Kingdom pyramid texts mention the time of watery chaos. In the Nun, there existed the potential for the Ennead, 9 deities that would bring about the creation of the earth. The Ben-Ben, an obelisk pillar, would rise. This was Adam, and he would create himself by speaking his name into existence. Adam would create a pair of divine beings by spitting them out of himself, which begins the creation of the world. His children, Shu, the god of air, and Tefnut, the goddess of moisture, represents the emergence of space amid the waters. Shu and Tefnut would then produce the second generation of gods. Their son, the god of earth, Geb, and his sister wife, Nut, the sky goddess whom defined the limits of the world. As we can see, with this second generation of gods, the elements needed for life on earth to begin are now here: sun, air, moisture, land, and sky. Geb would stretch out and create the earth. His sister wife Nut would lay on top of him, forming the sky. Eventually, their father Shu, god of air, would have to separate them. Above him, bringing the moisture, stretches his wife Tefnut. Before separated by their parents, Geb and Nut would produce another generation of gods. Those 4 children were Osiris, god of fertility and regeneration; Isis, goddess of motherhood; Set, god of chaos, and Nephthys, goddess of protection. Isis and Osiris would produce Horus, whom the pharaohs would descend from. With this, the Ennead, now here, people would follow. All of this was accomplished by Atum, as the 8 lesser gods were merely extensions of his power and will. There was an important city, founded by a legendary king. The great Temple of Graceland still stands dedicated to Elvis, even to this. Wait. Sorry, I'm talking about the wrong Memphis. This Memphis is in Tennessee. You all want to hear about the Memphis that is in Egypt. There was an important city, founded by a legendary king. King Menes founded the great city of Memphis around 3200 BCE. Where the Nile River branches into the Nile Delta, a fertile and prosperous city arose, protected by P'Tah. He was the patron deity of craftsmen. Memphis, no, it was he who started creation. P'Tah envisioned the creation of the world by imagining the finished products. Through naming the Ennead with his own tongue, he gave them form from his heart. The heart was believed to be the seat of human thought by the Egyptians of the time. His intellectual creation produced the physical creation simply by speaking the names of the gods and all other things that would follow. Atum and all that would arise from him arose from Ptah's mind and his heart. The Hermopolis Thot cosmology and the Heliopolis Ennead were reconstructed from various ancient religious texts, but creation, according to the Memphite theology, is preserved on the Shabaka stone. This single document tells of a Nubian pharaoh who lived in the 25th dynasty, roughly 705 to 680 BCE. During King Shabaka's reign, an old and worm-ravaged papyrus was found. Discovered in the temple of P'Tah in the city of Memphis, Pharaoh Shabaka ordered the words to be preserved by chiseling them into stone, the Shabaka stone that still exists today. P'Tah, through thoughts and words, created the world. Sight, hearing, breathing, they report to the heart, and it makes every understanding come forth. As to the tongue, it repeats what the heart has devised. Thus, all gods were born, and his Ennead was completed, for every word of God came about through the heart devised, and the tongue commanded. Continuing text describes how P'Tah created the gods and established their worship throughout Egypt. He gave birth to the gods. He made the towns. He established the nomes. He placed the gods in their shrine. He set out their offerings. He established their shrines. He made their bodies according to their wishes. Thus the gods entered into their bodies. Of every wood, every stone, every clay, everything that grows upon him, in which they came to be. Thus were gathered to him all gods and their cause, content united with the Lord of two lands. Thebes, thought to be where the primeval mound emerged from the Nun, according to Theban theology, brings us another version of the beginning. Behind the Ogdoad, behind all things, was a hidden force. This force was Amun. Not merely a member of the Ogdoad, he transcends all other deities. Amun, hidden beyond the sky and deeper than the underworld, he was separate from the world. Amun was the call of the goose, the call that broke the stillness of the primordial waters and formed the rest of the Ogdoad, or the rest of the Ennead, dependent on the telling you are hearing. His true nature was concealed even from the other gods. He was the ultimate source of creation. All other deities were merely aspects of Amun. Those with this belief saw Amun as the supreme god of the Egyptian pantheon. So, 4 more tales of creation in the bag, this time seen through the eyes of the ancient people of Egypt. My first thought is, please, gods above, that my pronunciation on the names and places do not come off as disrespectful. My second thought is how similar these stories were. In looking these up, I found more versions I didn't cover. There was an older deity, known as Min, from the pre-dynasty area. Depictions can be dated back to around 3300 BCE. He is shown as a god connected to creation and fertility. There are similarities to the sun god Amun-Ra. This is an example of blending and evolution of these beliefs over the centuries, stretching back through the millennia. Various media exists. The Mummy movies, for example, that Charleston Heston movie that used to be on TV around the time I was young. Throw in a little Indiana Jones reforce with actual archaeological discoveries, like King Tut, things found in the sands of Egypt. A mystique exists, a fascination with that land where those three famous pyramids sit, wonders of the world. I couldn't help but enjoy looking more into them. Obviously, there is so much about the various interpretations of the Egyptian pantheon of gods I didn't cover. Maybe someday in a Why Are We Here, I could go into what else these gods contributed to everyday life for these ancient people. Mainly, though, like Australia's Dreamtime, variations existed between locations. And that's a constant issue that exists, probably due to humans and how they lived and worshipped. It changes from region to region. Okay, well, once again, thank you for watching. I sincerely hope you enjoyed watching and listening to me ramble on, at least half as much as I enjoyed the rambling. Please tune in again. After all, there are plenty of other creation stories, and I can't wait to learn about them, can't wait to share it all with you, the YouTubers. I have other topics I find interesting as hell as well. Can't wait to maybe shoot some of that out there at you guys. Finally, if you know anything about the YouTubes, if you want to help me grow my audience, help me grow this channel, then please leave a like, maybe let me know what you thought about it in the comments, share the video, and subscribe to Odds and Ends by Jar. Thank you. If you enjoyed hearing a few tales of Egyptian creation, maybe you'll like hearing about other creation stories. As long as everything has gone to plan, you can find out how the indigenous people of Australia thought we got here. Both these videos should be going up on the same day. TLDR, I'm just some guy on the YouTube who did some reading on an interesting topic and shared it the best I could. Thank you all again. Have a great day and take care. Keep safe.